these are the top data disclosures, the top abstracts, the top presentations that took place a couple of days ago at ASH in San Diego. And I was there, and we're going to talk about what LARVOL has as a unique way of tracking and navigating the data. Thank you for joining LARVOL ONCO DATA. This is Bruno LARVOL. Bonjour and happy holidays to everybody. This is a second episode, and I'm joined today by Dr. Judith Pérez, who is one of the architects and one of the analysts behind these analytics here. So, welcome to the program, Judith.
Thank you very much, Bruno. Always a pleasure.
So, what we plan to do is to demonstrate what LARVOL CLIN, the platform we're demoing here, can do for you after the conference. The same platform can be used before the conference because we're also measuring, anticipating what are going to be the presentations that are going to have the most impact, that have the most buzz, so to speak. And I want to ask Judith to describe for us the methodology that we're using to build this analytics in particular. And again, this analytics is the top more precisely, the top trials. Usually it's one main abstract or one late-breaking abstract, one podium presentation, but sometimes there's a couple of them. These are the top trial data, the top clinical trial data presented at ASH, quantitatively ranked. So explain the methodology that we used in creating that ranking, please, Judith.
Okay, sure. So the idea here is that we have the top trials, as Bruno was saying, that were presented at ASH. And since CLIN is a trial-centric platform, we would be covering all abstracts that were presented in ASH that are associated to a trial. And then we track the reactions or every tweet that it's published associated or commenting on that abstract. And we have also, or on that trial, and we have the reactions according to its sentiment. So positive reactions or negative ones, along with other type of reactions. And in here, we can see that Perseus, Ischia, or SWOG, as long as Simpatico, are on the top ranked number of trials.
Thanks for that explanation. In a second, we'll click, not yet, but we'll click on these bars and we can navigate the actual tweets that we used to build these. So 3,000 or so, up to 3,000 oncologists that we tracked. Not all of them, of course, were active during ASH, but we do not, of course, analyze and include all of their tweets, only the tweets where they're talking about an identifiable clinical trial present. So it's a very, very curated picture. It's curated by our analyst, but at the same time, it's quantitative. And we have the exact number of commentary on Perseus, and we have about 65 or so. Now, I want to say something about the sentiment. So the sentiment, of course, is established not by an AI, in this case, not by natural language processing analysis, but our analysts are ranking or rating, more precisely, every tweet as positive, negative, and neutral. Now, you notice most of them are gray, meaning they're not rated. The SOP we have is that if a commentary on a data disclosure is somewhat ambivalent or has plus and negative, we code it as we're not rating it. So you will probably find some of the gray and say, well, that's kind of negative-ish, or it's positive and negative, but the red one are clearly negative in the opinion of our analysis. So Perseus, Ischia, and the SMOG trial are the top three. And then there's a big drop in level of buzz, and we have Simpatico. We have that one identified just by, I assume it's an clinicaltrials.gov identifier. you have augment. So these are the top 5 or so. And
Mhm.
see that it's actually mostly positive. The one that start to be a little bit negative is Gem 20, and then Bryn and Itera also have some negative comment in there,
Mhm.
right? But from looking at this, I would say that the Perseus, Ischia, and SWOG data are really, really positive. A lot of buzz, a lot of, and the SWOG one in particular, you can see is there's nobody said anything negative. It seems, and everybody is and a big percentage of positive comments. So let's click on that one to see what people have said about that trial. So
Let's go
first,
to it.
I'm not an oncologist. Maybe I could play one on TV. I don't know, but I'm not an oncologist. So it's not a peer review here. It's the perspective of people dealing with data and trying to help experts and people who are either, in some cases, academics, in other cases, are pharmaceutical customers to
Mhm.
understand what was presented at ASH. So I'm going to let you walk our audience, Judith, a bit on what was presented here. Maybe a few of these. You can click and see what's behind the tweet,
Mhm.
and then maybe skip to a different disclosure as well.
Sure. So in here we are looking at this trial. So SWOG is 1826, and we can see that it's NIVO, well, an ICI and an ADC being studied in Hodgkin lymphoma, and we can see different reactions to that presentation. And we have, as Bruno was saying, some of them really positive, and you can click on them and get to the tweet. We could do that, maybe. Well, let's see.
Now, the first comment is saying clearly practice
For
changing for him.
example,
What
this is
about,
promising data.
yeah?
Yes, then we go, great work, and lots of positive comments we can see as this green light it's indicating. So looking forward for our presentation. Then we have another abstract that was presented on the same trial in here. And we have the data all sorted out by date. And then maybe we can move to
Uh,
another. Yep.
just before that, so
Mm-hmm.
one of the things we have in CLIN is a Wikipedia page on every trial. And when I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at it, I'm wondering whether is it a phase 3, or do we
Yes,
know?
we could get
Let's
there
try to
and see
find
it.
that
Yes,
trial. Let's try to find that
sure.
trial. Assume I don't
Yes.
know anything
Uh,
about it.
so it's this SWOG as 1826. So if we click
Okay.
in here and we click along here to the
Okay.
exact trial page, we get to this 360 page where we
Okay.
have all the publication, Twitter reactions, media, other related trials, and outcome data, KM curves, digitized, and forest plot has a ratio. So it's a 360 page. You can see everything that has been published related to this trial. And we can see that it's a phase 3 trial
It's a
with
it's a
almost,
it's a NCI sponsored, and it's an
yeah.
RCT clearly. Let's scroll
Mm-hmm.
down to see how much data and how many
Sure.
images we have collected here.
Quite some. Yeah, yeah. Since ASCO 2020.
Okay, let's click on the schema on the trial design. We have several versions of it, but let's look at the structure of that trial. If you go down a little bit, if you scroll down, you
So,
can see several of them,
mhm.
like the last one, for example.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
that's
this
the
one.
original schema. I
Yeah.
assume it hasn't changed too much. So
Mm-hmm.
1,000 newly diagnosed stage 3 and 4 Hodgkin lymphoma, randomized to two groups, Nivo versus Brent uh,
Yeah.
uh, plus
So
AVD.
we
And you
have,
say,
yes, ICI plus chemo versus ADC plus chemo.
okay, AVD is chemo, right?
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
all right. That sounds good. So very simple structure. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
very nice. And now, another question I would have as a user is that a registrational study? I
Mm-hmm.
assume not, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not sponsored by pharma company. So I don't
Sure.
assume that it will change the label. It would certainly not lead to registration. It might change the label or the guideline because everybody
Mm-hmm.
seems to say that it is practice changing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So here you can see that in CLIN, I'm putting my advertisement hat on, Judith, here, right? We have on one hand a review of the what was hot at
Mm-hmm.
ASH,
Yeah.
quantitatively ranked. That's why I love it. Now I'm getting on my advertising voice here. It's not Bruno's opinion. What do I know? It's not even Judith's opinion. She knows more than me, but it's really a very carefully curated and calibrated survey. I would even venture to say a scientific survey of what the oncologists are saying on X. So
Mm-hmm.
I would argue there's not a more precise way of measuring and getting a picture of what was impactful at ASH than this.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, you have that Wikipedia page where you have the whole profile of that trial in case you need a reminder. Um, so, anything else on this first view? And then I'll ask you to go to a couple of other views, including the top commentators and the
Mm-hmm.
top product, the top MOAs, the top disease discussed at ASH. But anything else first on
Sure.
the top disclosures, the top trials?
Um, that you can also see the full ranked list if you click on the show more button, because maybe you were interested in other trials and you're expecting to see them also.
Let,
And then you
let,
have the full list of trials below,
let's
of
find one
abstracts.
that people didn't like with a lot of red
Let's
as a
see.
percentage, the one the most red, and see what they say.
There is one here, maybe.
Nivo. Let's look at Nivo. Nobody liked
Yeah.
it, and one third of people didn't like it. Let's see what happened.
And
So it probably
then,
failed, right? Every single
yeah,
PL1
so
is
we
gone.
have Nivo with hemtosemine
All right.
in
So,
lymphoma patients.
all right. So people are not happy about this one, right?
No,
But is it because it
doesn't
failed,
feel.
or is it because they don't like the
Yes,
way it was
it looks
designed?
like it. It looks like it because sometimes you see this, despite its failure, doubtful, has failed. So probably it failed.
It failed. Okay. Is there a
Yeah.
way to look at the data
Okay,
that
okay,
was
something.
presented?
Yes, of course.
Let's
If
see if
we
the data
get,
already has been added to our
let's
Wikipedia page.
see.
I hope Wikipedia doesn't
Hmm.
get upset that I use their name here.
One sec.
We have no affiliation with Wikipedia whatsoever. It's an image. I'm just saying we like Wikipedia, but we have no relationship whatsoever with
So
Wikipedia. So here we're going to find that trial in our
yes.
Wikipedia of trials, and we're going to see the data that have been entered
Okay.
already in
Let's
it.
see. So
All right.
I was using the filters to get to the trial quicker.
Okay. And see
Okay,
the
yes, so we
two,
have
right?
some
We know right
data.
away these are not, I'm no expert, but I can tell you these two curves don't look good to me. All right. I
No,
don't know what drug it
not
is, and I
difference.
don't even need to know the hazard ratio, which is a measure
Doesn't look
of the likelihood that this drug is going to do something for us. But this doesn't look good, people.
not significant.
So what it
So
was adding Nivo to chemo? Is it what
it
it was?
was a Nivo with gemcitabine and oxaliplatin, plus another drug. We could
But
also get into city.gov and see
okay,
also.
but what was it? It was an RCT. I mean, it looks like a control
I,
curve, right?
yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
Okay.
So with or without Nivo.
With and without Nivo. The title is
Yes.
misleading. It's with or without Nivo.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yes.
Nivo doesn't
You can
help.
see it here, really. Yes. Without
Actually,
Nivo and with
it
Nivo.
it kind of nearly hurt.
Hmm.
Actually,
Yeah, no, not
that's not
no
good.
improvement.
Right. So
No clear.
now
No
we're
clear that
analyzing
improvement.
this live with you. Probably people who are listening, they knew that that was a dog. That trial didn't work.
Mhm.
But for someone who wants to see what's going on, you can see how we organize all of the data to provide a
Mhm.
curated and exhaustive picture, exhaustive-ish, of what's happening. So
Mhm.
let's go now to the list of the most active commentators, people who at ASH spoke the most. Now, I'll ask
Yes.
you to describe the methodology, and I already know that the number 3 on the list is Dr. Mike Thompson, who visited us at the LARVOL booth, and It was very friendly, and we got the chance to chat a little bit. And he also nicely reposted some of our material. So, what is our
Mhm.
methodology here? What does it mean?
Here, so we are tracking the key opinion leaders and seeing what they are talking about regarding ASH, which trials, which abstracts they are commenting on. And we have in here the number of tweets. And again, we have the sentiment analysis. So whether the comment on that abstract was positive, negative, or more neutral. And yes, we have, as you were saying, Dr. Mark Thompson in third position, then also AJ Major on first one, and then you can get into them and see what have they posted exactly. Because also second position we have Aaron Logan, and what are the different abstracts they talked about, and which were the comments they made on them.
Now, our um, analytics does not take into account the number of likes or the
Mhm.
number of followers or the number of reposts. So it's a volumetric, and the volume measure is very simple. It's the number of commentaries on X that can be linked to that trial. So if someone is
Mhm.
at ASH and talks in generality about how good it is, or happy holidays, everybody, this is not going to count, even if there's a
Mhm.
hashtag. And it doesn't matter if the hashtag is there or not, as long as our analyst can link that tweet to the trial.
Mhm.
So we have a very, again, curated
Yes.
methodology. Now, what's interesting to me here is that we get a sense of the volume and a sense of the positivity of the people. For example, you can see one in the middle was very positive, and right, and it has a lot of positive comments. Uh, well, that one. Let's click on him, for
Sure.
example.
Let's
Right?
get a closer look
Okay, Chan Chia, if I
from
pronounce his name
Australia.
correctly, Australia, and very positive. He didn't say anything negative. 11 of his 18 commentaries are positive. Right, so
Mhm.
very constructive, positive
Right.
person. Uh, and we have other people who are more, um, um, I would say, mixed in their review. They
Let's see.
express um, more clearly when they're maybe not happy about something.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
here we have seen some of
Our
them.
friends Paul DeSantis, for example. Hi, Paul, if you're listening to us. We love Paul. And Paul, as all of you know, he's not shy about saying when he has critical comment, which I think is very nice too, right? So this is
Mhm.
Dr. DeSantis posting, was very informative and thoughtful.
Mhm.
So let's see his negative point here.
Yeah, it was about
That was about Nivo.
that
Yeah, yeah,
trial.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So his point: every single PDL1, okay, what do you say, failed in that setting.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
right? Right? With Scott T. Oh, it was with Scott T. It wasn't. It was not. We said maybe earlier it was with chemo, but it was with Scott T. Maybe
Yeah.
no,
Yeah. No, it was
with
plus
Scott.
or without
Okay,
Nivo. It was
okay.
another
Yeah,
trial.
yeah. I understand. I was mixing my two trials. Okay, so now let's do something else. In a
Sure.
different part of
Mhm.
CLIN, we have actually our list of influencers. So go to influencer and um, let's look at Dr. DeSantis, right? And so in that analytics, we will have some profiling of his activity. If you go in the
Mhm.
tab called influencer at the top right,
Ah.
right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can look for Dr.
Sure.
DeSantis, and we can find a little bit of profiling on his activity as a thought leader in the oncology field. There we are.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's.
All right. So, okay, let's look at his analytics on the top right of the screen.
Mhm.
So we get a sense of what is he tending to tweet about. So these are the main products that he's commenting on. And same thing, negative, positive. Let's look.
See.
Let's click on the right to see what other analytics we have for Dr. DeSantis. So these are the top MOAs. right? So a lot on CD20, of course, PD1, I'm sure PDL1 as well. And you can see which MOA he likes, which MOA he doesn't like, right? Okay, so these are the two views. I think we'll
Yeah.
add other views later on. Now let's do
Mhm.
one more thing in the influencer tab. Let's go back to
Sure.
the beginning of that tab, and let's try to find commentary on, let's say, Hodgkin lymphoma. So let's try Hodgkin lymphoma and see if we can find what the people there who are talking the most about. Oh, no, no, it has to be hematology. Sorry, it stays
Yeah.
at the board level. Yeah. All right, all right. And so these are the top people in
Influencer.
hematology. We can recognize some of them. Some were active at ASH, some maybe less this time. So these are people I think we tagged to hematology because their profile was
Mhm.
mentioning hematology.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we did a little detour for influences. Let's go back to where we were at ASH.
Sure. There.
And as you get to the page, we're gonna talk a little bit more about the top thought leaders, and then we'll get to our other views, other
Mhm.
analytics, which includes the analytics on the top discussed products, the top discussed MOAs, and of course the top discussed diseases.
Mhm.
You might need to go back yeah, there might be a little bug there about
Now.
how to
Yeah.
yeah, here we are. About
Yeah.
all right. So anything else on the top thought leaders first before we move on?
Mhm.
And again,
We
you
can.
have a long tail. You can click on show more,
Yes,
and you have
exactly.
a
We have
long
to show
tail
more.
of people who
See
didn't
that
post as
people
much.
have been really active. So
Yes.
you see more than 120 tweets from same person. So
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, so these are
Nice.
the top products, and what I like to look at that page with the compare with previous years toggle clicked on, because then
Yes.
you see the difference, right? You see, for example, that
Mhm.
the first product compared with the last 2 years had a big jump in
Mhm.
visibility, right?
Yeah.
And some others, Yes Carta also had a jump, double the
Mm.
volume,
Yeah.
and some others went down. For example, daratumumab from J&J got down a little bit, or the Imbruvica had a big jump. This is a year of Imbruvica, right? Look at that.
Mhm. You can see also some big increase in here.
Yes. So that's an idea of that's an opportunity to see what's trending, right, in
Mhm.
terms of the buzz about these different products. So that's one analytic, and the next one, I think, is either the top MOA or
Yes. We have top MOAs
top
here.
MOA. Okay. And same thing, let's compare with it. So that one's kind of flatter. CD3
Mhm.
agonists, the last 2 years have been strong, right?
Yes.
The other one are
It's pushing.
always kind of the same. The CD20 always big, and um,
BCL2 inhibitors,
BCL2.
CD38, CAR Ts.
Okay. Now I
Mhm.
don't see. Oh, look at what happened
Yeah,
to
the big
DNA
drop
synthesis inhibitors
inhibitors.
and cell therapy.
Yeah,
The buzz compared with last year went down like a souffle.
dropped. Yeah, about 3 inhibitors.
So cell therapy would include the CAR T, I assume, right?
Could, although we have some more specific CAR Ts
Oh,
above.
CAR T. Okay, so perhaps there's a bit of an overlap in our vocabulary. Oh, that's right. There's a bunch of CAR Ts. So
Mhm.
it might be interesting. Maybe it's a categorization issue, although,
Hmm.
yeah, that's
More
interesting.
generalized
Yeah, that might be a good thing to
category.
check with the team whether cell
Sure.
therapy includes the other CAR Ts. And then DNA synthesis inhibitor. What is that? Do you know that drug class? That's
You would
obviously a
have,
big deal.
well, it's inhibiting DNA synthesis. So basically, it's like
The chemo?
that's
Are they chemo
yeah,
drugs?
not
No.
exactly, but I
All right.
I cannot tell you exactly
All
why
right.
that each drop really.
Okay, clearly, big drop. Now, someone
Mhm.
listening, if you know, comment on the video, tell us, educate us and your colleagues, because I'm an expert in some ways in building a business around oncology data. That's what we do, but not in hematology data. But
Mhm.
as I like to say, the lack of knowledge does not inhibit me. And that's one of my superpower. I'm not
Mhm.
inhibited by my lack of knowledge. All right. So we're getting toward soon the end of the podcast.
Mhm.
Do you have any other comments to make for our audience about CLIN or about using CLIN to either prepare for the conference or
Mhm.
after the conference to analyze the results?
Sure. First, we also have just other analytics, such as top diseases and top companies. So really know what's out there. And then that it's really useful to get to know, to get prepared, what are you going to expect to ASH before ASH, then see how the reactions have been going after all the presentations, all the posters, all the oral and plenary sessions. So it's a really good way to get to know in a centric platform, have all the data on all the trials that have had disclosed the data.
I'm I'm ready to buy. You convinced me. I need this absolutely. So
No.
Um, so first, this platform is free
Mm-hmm.
for academic users. So if you want to use this platform for non-commercial use,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not a pharma, you can have access. There's a free version online. Now the analytics we showed today requires login, but we'll give
Mm-hmm.
you the login for free. It's free. So please contact Judith, contact me, contact Lynn Wen, our head of sales, or Mark
Mm-hmm.
Grambling, and we will give you free access if it's for non-commercial use. Now, if you're for commercial use, contact us too. We'd love to sell it to you or to give you a pilot to evaluate this, maybe for ACR or for ASCO GI, ASCO GU. We only do oncology. That's why
Mm-hmm.
this podcast is called LARVOL ONCO DATA. And we're focusing exclusively for our new products, our new technologies, in applying technologies, applying AI ultimately to oncology data. So on that note, we're going to close the podcast in a second. But Judith, do you have anything to say in closing for our audience? And I very much appreciate that you were my co-pilot today in this podcast.
Of course. I was always a pleasure to be here with you presenting data. And yes, that we are more than happy to show you around Clean and show you how it works, share all the data, which you are also able to do that. So yes,
Well, Judith, thank you very, very much. You're in Barcelona right now. Is that right?
yes, I am.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm here in San Francisco. So, to all of our listeners, thank you. Contact us, comment, like, subscribe to this as well. We're going to continue to provide you with a lot of great content before each conference, after the
Mhm.
conference, and in between conferences, only talking about oncology data. Thank you all. Semper
Thank
Tigris.
you.